The world of body modifications is filled with layers of enhancements that you've never seen before. And here are 7 of the most extreme modifications on this planet. Clocking in at probably the weirdest looking modification is the bagel head. In 2012, the bagel head phenomenon appeared on an episode of National Geographic's, and the Japanese people took too much of a liking to it, making it an underground trend. This procedure involves the forehead to be pumped with 300 to 400 cc's of saline in the span of 2 hours, and then adding the final touch by holding down the finger in the middle, giving it a bagel-shaped effect. It's said that during the injection, people experience a bit of a headache, but after it's done, there's absolutely no pain associated with it. The results last about 6 to 24 hours until you've peed everything out and the skin returns back to normal. And while this is considered to be a temporary procedure, one of the most hardcore and permanent modifications is finger removal. There are 2 types of people who have decided to take on this modification head to head. The first is the Dani tribe of Indonesia, who remove the tip of their fingers each time a family member passes away. It's believed they perform this tradition so that their ancestors find peace. But the second type of people that do this modification are among the most extreme body mod enthusiasts in the world. The top 3 notorious cases belong to the Black Alien Project, Diablo Prado, and Lily Lu. And now, a lot more people are coming out of the woodworks wanting to join this exclusive club. Why do they do it? Well, no one really knows. But in a community where tongue splits and eyeball tattoos are now the norm, removing a digit really ascends the individual to the top of the food chain. But a modification almost equally as crazy is eyeball piercings. That's right, you can actually select a small piece of jewelry either in the shape of a heart, star, or gemstone to be placed in the white parts of your eyes. This procedure costs around $3,000 and it requires maximum precision. It's not done with a traditional piercing gun or needle. Instead, your eyelids are held open the entire time while a surgeon makes a small incision between the sclera and the conjunctiva in order to create a little pocket in which the jewelry is placed. But eyeball piercings come with serious consequences. I mean, who would have guessed? In the lighter scenarios, you may get an infection, and on the serious side, your vision could permanently be lost. For that reason, not very many surgeons offer this procedure. Now, you could argue the fact that these individuals have a sickness for doing this, but it's actually no different than people who have waist reduction. And I'm not talking about just shedding a few pounds or getting some liposuction to achieve that look. I'm talking more extreme. These people are so obsessed with the thought of having a small waist that they go as far as removing their ribs. And one person in particular who underwent this procedure was Pixie Fox. She spent over $9,000 in order to remove 6 of her ribs and achieve a waist size of 16 inches. The aftermath of this surgery came along with astronomical pain, but regardless of that, nothing was gonna stop her from doing this extreme body modification. And even though waist reduction is predominantly done by plastic surgery addicts wanting to look like Barbies, what if you wanted the appearance of a monster? Well, this is where teeth sharpening comes into play. In the first part of this series, I talked about tusk implants giving you a more animal-like aesthetics. However, teeth sharpening has really grown popular in the extreme world of body mods. Simply put, the procedure includes filing down the teeth, giving them a pointed fang-like look, averaging the cost of $50 to $300 per tooth. And even though people these days do it to look more like a monster, this modification has actually been around for a really long time, as many ethnic groups in South America, Africa, and Southeast Asia have practiced this tradition. But for them, teeth sharpening was done for spiritual and religious purposes, along with a standard of beauty. And needless to say, it does come with a lot of cons like tooth sensitivity and a heightened risk of cavities. However, even though we know how risky a lot of these modifications can be, the same can't be said about ear removal, as it's one of the more newer, so to say, enhancements in comparison. There are actually people out there who are getting rid of the flaps of their ears completely. The area which they're disposing of is referred to as the pinna. and the job is to gather sound waves, directing them into the ear canal where it's then amplified. So you could imagine what would happen if you remove it, right? Essentially everything would just go quieter. But as much of a massive inconvenience this would be for us, for people who want to look like parrots and aliens, they beg to differ. Cause at the end of the day, it's all about the aesthetics, baby. And speaking of ears and aesthetics, if getting rid of the pinna isn't your thing, then maybe reshaping it to look like an elf might be. In today's day and age, you don't need a silly costume to look like your favorite fantasy character. You can become that permanently. Ear sculpting is done by body mod artists who help you get the elf ears of your dream. This is actually a more common procedure compared to the other ones on the list, and it costs anywhere from $1,000 to $7,500 depending on what part of the world you get the surgery done in. And there are risks attached to it, but nowhere close to other modifications like eyeball piercings. Think of it more like a nose job for the ears.